Hey, look at me with the sunglasses on. It's the start of summer, and it looks like it's going to shape up to be a really nice day. It's a Thursday, but I'm working because we had a bank holiday Monday. So that's the so now Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday morning become our 3.5 days we work this week. We've had notable events have occurred recently. Newsflash: my accounts have been finalised, and I have to pay 9,000 something on or before the 1st of June. So seeing as we're still in, what is it, July? I think it's July. Might be June. January, February, March, April, May, June. No, it's July. So anyway, I'll check, but I'm pretty sure it's July. So that's good, isn't it? So we'll have that in the bank by then. Well, we've got it in the bank now, but I mean, we'll have it at that point. We will also have it in the bank, which is not, that's not an unreasonable amount to pay. I've had much worse than that many years ago, but I still think it's high. I still think, they're announcing interest rates today, and they're saying they're going to keep them on hold, which they will do, because we always tend to follow the Americans, and they've kept their interest rates the same. The reason why we have to follow the Americans is because if interest rates diverge between the two countries, then the exchange rate changes. Exchange rates tend to favour currencies that pay higher interest. So if we were to put our interest rate up, then the pound would rise against the dollar, and the Yanks would not like that. So, and vice versa. If we put ours down, then money will flow out of the country. So they're talking about, at the moment it's 5.25%, and they're talking about whether or not they're going to put it up or down or whatever. And the truth of the matter is that interest rates are not set. They're not limited, let's put it that way. They're not limited by what the public can stand, or well, they're limited by two things, right? They're limited by what the government can pay on the government debt, and that's the main one, because the government, the only way the government can pay the debt on the money it's already borrowed is by printing more money. So it tends to get into a debt spiral if it goes over about 5%, certainly if it went over 6%. And that's why we had 14 rate increases, quick smart, up to about 5.25%, and then it stopped, because that's the limit of what the government can pay really in interest. And the other thing is, if you increase interest rate too much, you just crash the economy, and that's why they're going on about whether we're going to have a soft landing and everybody's going to be okay, or a hard landing and the economy is going to tank. And you also have to bear in mind that the effect of interest rate rises and decreases is delayed. So a lot of people, let's say, are on fixed rate mortgages, and they might be paying, I don't know, 2%, 3%. And then their fixed rate expires, and in the meantime the base rate's gone up, and so they're faced with the prospect of remortgaging at 7, 8, 9%. And so for them that's a massive jump. So they're all right until the fixed term expires, and then they're not all right. And their fixed term will expire, and it could be months or even years after bank rate's gone up. So there's a delayed effect, while people are on effectively on rates which are lower than would be offered in the market at the moment. And it's the same. It tends to not work quite so much coming down, because if interest rates come down and mortgages become cheaper, then people will just literally pay a sort of termination penalty or whatever, and just switch mortgages to a lower rate. So they can switch lower fairly easily, but nobody wants to switch higher. So we've got to stay competitive with the dollar. We've got to make sure the government doesn't go bust paying its debt, and we've got to not tank the economy, bearing in mind that the full effects of the 5.25% probably haven't completely played out even now, and so I think they'll keep that on the same. So the problem in this country really is growth in gross domestic product, which is it's nominally is the sum total of all of the output of goods and services produced and manufactured. And we've always had pretty poor productivity in this country, going right the way back to the days of Red Robbo. So, you know, government after government after government has tried to tackle productivity in this country, and as productivity goes up and gross domestic product goes up, you've got more goods and services chasing the same amount of money, and so you get price inflation. And the way that the government has got around that, and you know they quite like this way of working, is to print more money, and so you don't get inflation, and then the government gets a load of free money to spend. But at the moment, that's not really working, because we've already got inflation. They've already printed too much money. They shut the whole country down, so GDP went through the floor. No goods and services being produced for 2 years, and yet the government's still printing money, you know, for state handouts and eat out to help out and stuff like that, you know, subsidising new car purchases, sending every small business in the country £10,000. So we're in the opposite situation now. But so, you know, a lot of people are always saying, well, what can you do to respond in circumstances? Like almost certainly always investors, they're always saying, well, where would you invest? Where would you put your money now? And to be honest, the answer is, and this isn't investment advice, you know, you've got to do your own due diligence, don't rely on idiots like me. The answer is that nobody really makes money when inflation is high and you're in a high interest environment, because the inflation is always higher than the base rate. And as we've heard, they can't increase the base rate, so what they're doing is they're relying on a combination of higher taxes and high interest rates to sort of club the public like a baby seal, and try and make sure they haven't got any money to spend, and then that's going to bring inflation down because there'll be less demand for goods and services. And we're you know, we've experienced this. Let's go. Oh, look at that lovely sunny day. No, you might not see it the same as me because I've got the glasses on, you see. I can't put the glasses in front of the CCTV, or not legally anyway. So, like, we have this system where people pay in advance. Actually, I was reminded yesterday of that old story about, this must have been 30 years ago. It was printed in one of the dental magazines, and in those days the patients had brown cards with their notes on, and the patient was took their card downstairs to reception, and they noticed that on the card someone had written PIA because the patient was a pain in the arse. And they said to the receptionist, what's what's that mean then, PIA? So quick as a flash, the receptionist said, do you have problems coming in the afternoon? And the patient said, yeah, well, I do, as a matter of fact. And they said, well, that's what it is then. It stands for problems in the afternoon. So spectacular bit of quick thinking by a dental receptionist there. But the other thing PIA stands for is payment in advance. And honestly, I can't recommend highly enough our system of paying in advance. Just to recap very quickly, for those of you who haven't heard me going on about it before, let's say a patient's got an appointment on Friday, then they'll be expected to pay the fees for the work they're having done on Friday by 5 o'clock Wednesday. If they don't pay, we'll just assume that they've changed their mind about coming in, and we'll reallocate the appointment, and we've got the best part of 2 days to do that, so that's never a problem. And then some other possible outcomes are like we cancel the appointment, send them a cancellation notice, they ring and say, why have you cancelled my appointment? And we say, well, have you paid your invoice? And they say, no, I thought I'd pay on the day. And we're like, well, no, it's quite clear. We blame the system a lot. We blame the system. We say, I'm sorry, but if you haven't paid, then the computer will automatically cancel your appointment and reallocate it on the basis that you're probably not coming in. And they're all right then, so then we take payment over the phone and reinstitute the appointment, assuming they've done it quick enough and it's not been filled. It's also useful if you want someone to, if you need some space. You can have a quick look and see who's coming in tomorrow and if they haven't paid. I mean, they should have been cancelled at that point and deleted, but it does free up some space sometimes. But the other thing is it absolutely filters out the time wasters, because you've got lots and lots and lots of people who, for various reasons, not just the people whose cars break down, but the people who's want to make an appointment, know that they should make an appointment, and then decide that they can't afford to come in. And we've had a good example of that this morning. I've had an email from someone who has sent us an email and said, please, it's Thursday, isn't it, today? So everyone who should have paid by 5 o'clock last night for Friday, one of them sent an email and said, look, I'm not coming. I don't want to come in Friday. Please cancel my appointment. And I was looking at that and I thought, oh, that's a bit brusque. They've put us to all the. They've made an inquiry. They filled in the spreadsheet. We've created a record for them on our system. Put all their details in, their email, their phone number. We've fit them in the book at a time which they've said is convenient for them. We send them out an email, 2 emails, a welcome email and your appointment email, and an SMS. And then they just send us like a 2-line email saying, no, I don't want that, please cancel my appointment. So without any thought at all to the what they put us through. So, hello, ambulance specialist paramedic, what are you doing there? So, but on the other hand, the way I was looking at it and thinking about it is like, the reason why they've cancelled is because our new patient appointment is £78. Now, that includes everything. That's examination, diagnosis, treatment planning. It includes x-rays, which other dentists charge £14 each for. And she's decided that she doesn't really want an appointment for £78. Well, you could immediately say, well, like, it is on our website, we make no secret of that. And in fact, we've even sent her an invoice for 78 quid saying this is for your first checkup. Plus, we're quite happy to tell people over the phone that it's 78 quid. Oh, run out of petrol. Not yet. So then, knowing all that, why would they then cancel? And the answer is that they've just decided it's not doable. Fair enough. But the point I'm getting to, and this is the important point, is that because of our requirement to pay by Wednesday, 5 o'clock, she's actually written us an email saying, please cancel my appointment. Or to put it another way, if she hadn't written that email, her appointment would have been cancelled anyway. So I do appreciate the fact that she's emailed us, and I think it may be that additional pressure of the invoice being payable by 5 o'clock yesterday, which has made her consider yesterday, Wednesday, whether or not she can come in tomorrow, Friday. Do you see what I mean? She's had to deal with the problem 2 days earlier because we've said to her we've asked for some money up front, and so she's then made a decision yesterday not to come in, and emailed us to say, which is great because that's better than her just not paying the invoice, and then perhaps we might ring her and say, and then, which we did do the other day. We had another inconsiderate so and so who spoke to me actually and said, can I come in? And I said, yeah, I can get you in on Friday. So we did the whole thing, got them on the system, sent them an invoice. And then yesterday, I think, or was it, well, they were coming in today. Probably they were coming in today. And so on Tuesday, when they hadn't paid, we're like, give them a ring, find out, tell them that they have to pay the invoice if they want the appointment. And this bloke just said, oh no, I've had a chat with my boss and I can't get the time off work. So we're like, well, you think the same thing. Were you going to tell us? What are you going to tell us then? Or are we just going to sit there and think, oh, I'll let them just pencil that space in for me, and then obviously when I don't turn up, they'll realise I'm not coming in, And it's that sort of attitude. They'll realise I'm not coming in when I don't turn up, that we're trying to eradicate. And this payment in advance system does do that. Because in his case, the fact that he hadn't paid his invoice, pardon me, led us to ring him up and find out that he couldn't get the time off work. And then this woman who's coming in Friday, who didn't pay her invoice by 5 p.m. yesterday and decided to send us an email to cancel, well, that's again, that's giving us a heads up that we've got some time available on Friday to fit someone else in. So all in all, I'm pretty stoked with this system. I think it works very well for us. Now you're like, well, okay, Angry, you've given me an example there of two people who haven't come in, who might have paid 156 quid, and you've made no money at all, and you're warbling on about how brilliant the system is. Well, yes, I am, because what we're doing is we're weeding out the people for whom we would previously have just been sitting around looking at our watches saying, well, they're 5 minutes late, shall we give them a ring? They're 10 minutes late, perhaps they're stuck in traffic, That sort of real soul-destroying and bottom line destroying abuse of the system by patients is not possible under my system. And so what we've done there is we've literally weeded out two patients who would have just not turned up probably and just kept us waiting, who would have incurred, our costs would have been incurred, and they would have paid nothing, and we're not capable of recovering anything. If you think you can give them a failed appointment charge and recover it, you're in cloud cuckoo land. For the most part, you can never recover failed appointment charges unless the patient's in credit on their account. What happens is the whole purpose of the failed appointment charge is not to get a charge for a failed appointment. It's to say to the patient the next time they ring up, yes, I'll be happy to book you in once you've cleared the £78 you owe us for the last time we made you an appointment and you didn't come in. And of course the patient never does that. Who rings up and asks to stay at a hotel where they've booked a room previously and skipped without paying for it? You're not going to book in that hotel again, are you? So they don't. You can't recover a failed appointment charge. It's a deterrent. It's just something that lies on the record for years, preventing these time wasters and the unreliable, the people with chaotic lives who export their chaos to you, who it just prevents you getting caught out by these people, caught up with them, caught out by them. So I really encourage you to think seriously about doing that. What I would do, what do you need to do it? What do you need? Okay. you need an online invoicing system. So you'll need a card payment system, something like Square, which allows you to invoice people through SMS and email, and or anything. I suppose QuickBooks does it. Xero might do it. I don't know. But you need to have some sort of card acceptance solution that has a back end. By which I mean, I don't mean a very straightforward, like gives you a card machine and what every month gives you like a payment, just sends you a statement. I mean one that's got like a software back end, like a control panel where you can type in your fees and your services. So it then comes up on a little iPhone type color card accepting machine. And part of that is the ability to literally send invoices. So you say you can type in, let me just take it from the beginning. You set up a spreadsheet. You can use Google Sheets for this. Anyone who's got a Gmail account, or everybody can get a Gmail account. Then you use Google Sheets and you set up a simple questionnaire online. You're welcome to go look at mine if you like. Ours honed to pretty much to perfection. First impressions.dental, and then click on the link book now, and then that will take you to a Google Sheets spreadsheet. Although it's a questionnaire, so you then put your name and date of birth in and when you'd like an appointment and what the problem is, and that is then goes through into the Google spreadsheet, which is on the receptionist's computer, and she will then type that information into our patient customer relationship, Exact or SFD, whatever you've got, and then she will then make an appointment and simultaneously, using the card payment interface, create an invoice. So you have to type in again the patient's name, their phone number, and what you're charging them for, checkup, and when it is, the date and everything, and which is the date that the invoice is due, will be 2 days before that, and then send that off. So what happens is the patient, let's say the patient, what's the patient journey? Patient journey. Patient journey is that they ring up and say, I want to make an appointment, and we say, right, we'll send you a text, and in the text is a link. Click on the link. We'll send them a text because we've already got their mobile phone number that comes up on our system. So we'll send you a text. In the text is a link. Click on the link, pop your details in, and then we'll make you an appointment. So you don't have to spend a lot of time saying, oh, what's your date of birth? Have you had COVID lately? Are you feeling ill? Blah, blah. All these questions can be in your questionnaire. So you then send them a text with a link, which is the same for every single inquiry. Or, in fact, they may already have a friend who says, look, you should go to this surgery. It's really brilliant. But what you want to do is, I'll send you their text, which has got the link. So then they click the link, and then what happens is, the next thing that happens is they get an email saying welcome to the practice. They get an email saying an appointment's been made for you at such and such, and also giving them the directions, how to get to the practice and everything. And then they also get an SMS, a reminder about the appointment in case the email bounces, because quite a few of them can't even remember their own email. And then separately they'll get an email with an invoice for 78 quid payable 2 days before the appointment. Then what happens is that when they pay that invoice, which they can do online, on their phone, and they got the option to store their details for future transactions, all the real flash, like normal stuff that they would expect from a proper retail outlet. Look at this. Oh dear me. This is supposed to have finished 6 months ago, this roundabout. The Chinese could have built a motorway in this time. We can't build a roundabout. So they then pay online, which is very flash and very sleek and very instant. And then what happens is that we get an email saying that they paid. So we then transfer the fact that they paid onto their patient records. So we show a payment as having been made by card on the date that they made it. And then when we come to check, let's say for next Wednesday or something, we can make sure that everybody's got on a payment, everybody's green, everybody's in credit to some extent for the treatment that they're going to get. Now it's not going to do wonders for your cash flow because you're only getting paid 2 days in advance. So don't think that that's why we do it. It's literally, it just cuts down on the number of people who don't turn up. And let's face it, I mean, everybody, they wake up on a Friday morning, they think, oh, I haven't got work today. Why is that? Oh, sorry, I'm going to the dentist. And then someone rings up and says, oh, I'm going down Westwood Cross today, shopping. Do you fancy going down Westwood Cross? And they say, yeah, all right, then go on then. I'll ring the dentist up and tell him my car's broken down. Well, I mean, what can he do? At the end of the day, what can he do? They'll just have to be really polite and say, no, don't worry. Hope you get it fixed. I'll rebook you. But that's not how it works with us. They've already paid at that point. So when their friend rings up and says, do you want to go shopping? They say, well, I can do, but I'm going to lose 78 quid or 35 quid or whatever, I've already paid. I've got a dental appointment, but I've already paid for it, so I've got to go. So, and people who say, oh, I've got called into work. My boss has just rang me this morning and said he needs me at work. And we're like, well, I hope you told him that if you miss your dental appointment, you've just done the best part of 45 quid. And they're like, well, most of the time they're like, yeah, I've got no choice. There's nothing I can do. And there's nothing they can do for the most part. Most people, they've obviously got to prioritise their job over any dental appointments. But, I would say if you're paying 45 quid for a failed dental appointment, that's pretty much all the profit you're going to make on working for a day, isn't it? Especially if you're working for someone who's got that arrangement where they can boss you around like that. It's really, really bad. So I feel sorry for those people, but I don't want to let them export their chaos to me. I don't see why the fact that they've got a shitty boss should mean that my business loses money. Okay, there we are. That's an in-depth review of that, isn't it? Okay, I hope that's some use to you. But I do encourage you to do it, and obviously get in touch if you've got any questions. Okay, bye.